Today I want to share with you about the Essentials in Writing program and give you a review of the Essentials in Writing Level 8 as well as their scoring service. But first, let me share with you a little backstory on how we even got to use the Essentials in Writing program. So it was about a year ago that I started researching curriculum for my 8th grader to use this past school year. And one of the things that I knew that we really needed to focus on was writing. It wasn't that she was a terrible writer, but we definitely needed to make some improvements in her writing skills, fine-tune some things, and just lay a really good foundation so that she'd be ready and prepared for writing in high school. And so I had researched a lot of different writing curriculums and kind of compiled a list of my top favorites that I thought that she might enjoy and that would be beneficial to her. And I really wanted her to make the final choice because, especially for our older children, if they have input into it, they're much more excited to do the curriculum if they had a say in it. So I laid out a whole bunch of different writing curriculums for her, and she looked them over, all the samples online and all of that kind of stuff, and then she immediately said, I want to do Essentials in Writing. I mean, there really was no discussion or debate about it. This was the one she wanted to do. And what sold her on it were the video lessons. We watched the sample video for Level 8, and she just went, Mom, that makes so much sense. That is exactly how I think. That's how I process information. This is the one that I want to do. So because I knew we were already going to be purchasing this curriculum, I did reach out to Essentials in Writing and ask if they would be willing to send it to me for free in exchange for a review. And they agreed to that, and they went above and beyond and offered to let me try out their scoring service as well. And at first I was thinking, my daughter's in 8th grade. I mean, she takes tests and I keep grades kind of for practice, but I don't actually keep grades until 9th grade so that those will go on the high school transcript. So I really didn't need a scoring service, I thought, to keep grades. But I thought, well, you know what, they're offering it for free. Why not review it? And that way I can share it with you and I can get an idea if that's something that I want to use in the future. And I'm so glad I did. So first, let me give you just a little overview about what Essentials in Writing is all about. You'll want to go to their website and to find out more information and to check it out and to look at the samples. I'll leave that link down below. But let me give you a really quick overview, and then I want to just share with you my review of how the Essentials in Writing Level 8 and the scoring service went for us this year. So first off, Essentials in Writing is a writing and grammar curriculum for 1st grade all the way through 12th grade. And the elementary levels, or the lower levels, start with grammar. So they do like a half, I believe they do a half of the year of grammar, and then they move into writing. 7th grade and up really focuses primarily on writing. Now, there is a little bit of introduction to grammar in the beginning of Level 8, and I'm assuming that's probably how it is for the other levels as well. There is just a very general introduction to grammar and it was grammar that would be used in writing, that they needed to have a good grasp of to be good writers. There was also, though, additional lessons that you could do that were just grammar based. If you feel like your student needs more grammar, they did have those. I wouldn't call them bonus material, but it was just extra material that you could use if you wanted to. But 7th grade and up is primarily just focused on writing or composition. The way Essentials in Writing is set up is that it's video-based and workbook-based. So there's video instruction that your child would watch, and then there is a workbook that they would work through in helping them with their writing, or in the lower grades with their grammar and writing. Now, when we got the Essentials in Writing program this past year, there was really only one option. That was the workbook with the DVDs. And so if you can see here, there's DVDs in the back. This had the teaching instruction in it, so we would take those out, we pop them into the DVD player, my daughter would watch the lesson, and then she would start working through the workbook. Now, Essentials in Writing has an online option as well. So the online option is an online video subscription. You still need to purchase the workbook, but you will not get DVDs in the back. You'll actually have online access to the videos. And I believe that is a subscription, so you only have a certain amount of time to access those videos, where the DVDs are yours to keep. So just wanted to point out those two options that they now have available, because I know for some of us, we don't have a lot of DVD players in our home anymore, and so online is a great option. But then for others, online might not be practical. Maybe you have slow internet connection, or you're not always where there's internet connection, and so you want the DVD option. So they do have those two options available for us. So that's a really quick overview of the Essentials in Writing program. You're going to want to go to their website at essentialsinwriting.com to find out more about them and about each of the different levels and what they cover. But I want to jump into my review. What did I think of the program? What did my daughter think of the program? And what did we think of this scoring service? Well, if you want the really short version, I'll give it to you right now. 2 thumbs up for the writing curriculum, 2 thumbs up for the scoring service. This really far exceeded my expectations for this curriculum. So for my daughter, she said that this is the first writing curriculum that she's ever done where she didn't feel overwhelmed and she didn't get frustrated. And that is huge. I mean, as homeschool moms, we know that when our kids are overwhelmed and frustrated with a subject, it is so hard to help them to make progress in it, because it's just like they just keep hitting a roadblock. And so for her to say that this one didn't overwhelm her, it didn't frustrate her, was huge. And because of that, I did see that she made huge progress in her writing abilities. So she really loved this course because it didn't overwhelm her and it made sense to her. One of the things that really made the difference for her was the instruction on those DVDs or the videos. Matthew Stevens, who wrote the curriculum and also teaches the curriculum on the videos, did an excellent job of really going step by step, very systematic through the writing process. I mean, there was really no questions that my daughter had. She knew exactly what she needed to do, and she was able to do them in a very systematic way with great success. So she really found the videos to be extremely helpful. And then even the workbook is just laid out in a way that the students just move through the writing process so smoothly. And so it's like all of a sudden at the end they have this great essay or this great paragraph that they wrote, and I mean, she was blown away by how easy it was, and I was blown away by how well she did. So another thing about this curriculum is more than just the lessons being laid out really clearly and concisely and in a nice, orderly fashion, but the entire program was laid out nicely from start to finish. So for example, my daughter learned how to write a persuasive paragraph before she learned how to write a persuasive essay. Think about how overwhelming it is to write a persuasive essay or any type of essay that's numerous paragraphs. That can be mind-boggling, especially if it's a new type of writing for us. But to have her start with a persuasive paragraph, well, she was able to do that really well, and then to go, wait a second, I already wrote one persuasive paragraph. A persuasive essay is just kind of like 3 of those paragraphs with an introduction and conclusion. I can totally do that. So it really helped build her confidence over the course of the course. Over the course of the program, her confidence was slowly built as she took little steps and moved into more difficult things. So again, really systematic, really nicely laid out. One of the other things that I loved about this curriculum is, let's be honest, I didn't have to do the teaching. Matthew Stevens does it on the videos, and so my daughter did this curriculum 100% on her own. She knew exactly what she needed to do on every day. She knew what materials she needed to cover. She knew exactly how to write the paragraph or the essay that she was asked to write. The only thing that I did that I didn't have to do, but I did do it for her since we were using the grading service, is that I did check over her assignment before we submitted it to the grading service, and I'd point out if there were things that, suggestions that I had for her. But most of the time, I just read through it, went, this is great, and we sent it off to the scoring service. Now, if you're not using the scoring service, then you would have to grade the papers yourself. But don't worry, this curriculum has you covered there as well. It has a checklist for you, for your student, to make sure they have everything in there. It's got grading sheets for you as well. Is that up? Yeah, that's the right way. I thought maybe I had it upside down, but it's got scoring sheets in there to help walk you through as the parent how to grade that assignment. So everything is included in this course really for your student to have success and for you as a parent to be able to implement this in your home with really relative ease. You don't have to do very much. Again, if you're doing the scoring service, you have to do nothing. If you're not using the scoring service, you need to grade the papers, but it's all in there for you as a parent to help you to do that. Now, since I was talking about the scoring service, let's jump into what the scoring service is and how that all works. The scoring service is something that you can add on if you would like, and somebody grades your students' papers. And so at first I just thought, okay, well, we'll submit the paper and they're going to grade it and it'll come back with a grade. And that's helpful because, one, I don't have to grade it. I don't have to worry about if I'm being too easy or too hard on my student. It's somebody who knows English well and is doing a fair job grading my student's paper. So I thought, great, okay, we'll give it a try and we'll see how it goes. But let me tell you, the scoring service is so much more than just getting a grade for your student. When you get the results back, it's not just a grade. There's a lot of valuable information in there as well. So yes, you do get a grade, but you get two other things. One is that your students' paper that they wrote or essay that they wrote is going to come up on the screen, and there's going to be little marks and highlights on it, and then information notes on the side that say just suggestions for improvement. Maybe they forgot a comma, maybe they spelled a word wrong, maybe there was a sentence that didn't make a lot of sense. They might make note of that. So they're going to go through the paper with very detailed eyes and correct mistakes and suggest maybe better wording or things like that within the paper. So again, that's really helpful in helping our students know, okay, it's not just that you got an A, it's not just that you got a C on this paper, but that's not it. The most helpful thing for my daughter and for me in the scoring service was the feedback. They give about a paragraph feedback about what the student did well and where they could have some improvement. This was, I think, what made a huge difference in the success of the leaps and bounds that my daughter made this year. I mean, yes, this curriculum really helped her to improve in her writing, but I think she would have got stuck in some areas and not made a lot of improvement because we wouldn't have known that she needed improvement in those areas. But the scoring service, they first encouraged her. This is what you did well. Good job on this. And it was detailed and specific. And so it really gave her confidence. Okay, I am doing a good job at writing. This is the areas that I'm succeeding in. It was a good confidence boost. But then they let her know, here are some areas of improvement. And that was really important because sometimes she actually got 100% on a paper that she submitted. And normally you'd think, okay, well, there's no area of improvement because she got 100%. But we always have improvement to make, right? And so even though she met all the requirements and she did everything that was expected of her, the person grading her paper gave her some input on, hey, you did a great job, but here's what you could do to go above and beyond to grow in your writing even more in the next paper or assignment that you're doing. And again, that's so helpful. I mean, usually you get 100% on something and you think, great, I did a good job and there's no need for improvement, but we always have need for improvement. So I just thought that was so helpful. My daughter thought it was helpful too, because now she knew I did a good job. I did what was asked of me, but hey, I'm going to try to implement what they're saying I could I could do to make it even better and to grow in writing even better. So the scoring service was so awesome for me because I didn't have to grade anything, and the input and the feedback really made a huge difference. So if you can't tell already, my daughter and I really enjoyed the Essentials in Writing Level 8 curriculum. She grew tremendously in her writing ability. I loved that I didn't have to teach her anything. I didn't have to grade the papers, and the feedback from the scoring service was so beneficial. It really was priceless. So this is definitely a curriculum that I highly recommend to homeschool families. But that being said, I do want to let you know about one thing, because for those of you who follow me and have watched my videos, you've heard me speak, you've read my blog posts, you know that it is really important to me to have curriculum that comes from a biblical worldview when possible. And so I need to let you know, this curriculum is secular. It does not start from a biblical worldview. That being said, the author of the curriculum and the one who does the videos is a believer. There was nothing in this curriculum that I found that was questionable for Christian families. There was nothing in here that contradicted what I believed as a Christian, but there also was nothing in here that pointed my kids to Christ or testified to the fact that we want to learn to write and we want to be good communicators for the glory of God. So those were things that I had to add in to the program as my daughter was going through it, just continually reminding her about the biblical worldview for writing and for communication. But it is still a curriculum that I highly recommend because it does such a good job of teaching our kids step by step, systematically, in a non-overwhelming, non-frustrating way, how to write and to be good writers. So if you'd like to know more about Essentials in Writing, go check out their website. Or I also did a blog post review with a little bit more detail than I shared in this review, so you can find that over on my blog. I will leave all those things linked down below. If you have questions about the program, make sure to leave those in the comments, and I hope this was helpful to you. I'll see you again in another video.